I think that you can look at this and say, look, we're more exciting. As you said, we're talented. I mean, watching Matthews and Nylander together, the goal that Hyman scored on Tuesday against San Jose, it reminded me of watching the Sedin twins. That's how good they are at passing the puck to each other. So I think, Dean, you say this year is sort of like your last year where you're saying we've got to learn. But what this team, needs is one more defenseman. And that's the challenge now. Where are they going to find one more defenseman that's going to make them a little bit better and a little bit better at protecting leads? I think that's the challenge for them now. How can they find that player?
We were talking about it this morning, watching Oliver Ekman-Larsson play last night. You realize how far we are away from, having a number one guy like that and how hard it is to find one.
It's funny you say that because the Arizona guys came in and a couple of their broadcasters, Tyson Nash and them, were saying, hey, anything we should know about the Leaf team? And I said, if they had Oliver Ekman-Larsson, I mean, it sounds like the stupidest comment ever, because everybody could use a guy like him. But I think if the Leafs had a guy like that, it would be amazing what it would do for their team. That's everybody needs one, but the Maple Leafs in particular need one. And they're so hard to find. You look what Edmonton had to give up to get a top four defenseman last summer. That's what the Maple Leafs need to do. They need to find one of those guys, and it's hard to get them, and they cost a heck of a lot. That's why you're hearing, Van Riemsdyk's name mentioned a lot. I'm not convinced it's going to happen at this point in time, but I think that's why you hear his name out there, because that's the kind of guy you have to give up to maybe get one.
Elliotte, real quick, we all know how the Leafs handled the Mahalik situation, the Brooks Lake situation. Now Frankie Corrado's name keeps being thrown around. We saw Peter Holland score the winner. Is there a perception around the league amongst the players that maybe the Leafs don't treat their players maybe as good as they should?
There is a bit of that. There's no question. The one thing last night is I thought it got misconstrued, George. When I read Corrado's comments, I don't think he was attacking Babcock as a guy who doesn't like him. I think he was saying that Babcock doesn't like his game.
I think, and you know what? You heard Babcock this morning. We played some post-game stuff. Babcock didn't like that at all. At all.
And you know what? And that's the one thing here. I don't believe that Mike Babcock has a personal thing against Frankie Corrado. Now, I'll bet you he finally went public, but Corrado's been a very good soldier for a long time. And, Corrado and Peter Holland share the same agent, Joe Resnick. And I don't know if this happened, but I'm sure Corrado's looking at Peter Holland finally getting out and saying, boy, I wish that could happen to me too. But I don't think for a second Mike Babcock is not playing Frankie Corrado because he doesn't like him personally. We've talked about this before. I believe that he just doesn't think that Corrado is one of his top 8D, top 6D, which I think is fair. This is a merit-based business, and if the coach doesn't think you're one of his top 6 guys, it's his right not to play you. I don't like the fact that this is happening to him. I think it's really hurting his career, but I think it kind of got misconstrued last night. I don't think Babcock is not playing Corrado because he doesn't like him as a person. I thought that kind of went off the rails a bit.